to Whatnot or not to Whatnot? That is the question. There's nothing I like more than getting a great deal. In fact, I have been a lifelong thrifter my whole life. I love to buy pre-owned clothing and spend as little for it as possible. And now with the new Whatnot app, I can. But have you thought about what it's like from the buyer's perspective? As a seller, I'm sure there are a lot of different experiences that you have. But as a buyer, we have also different experiences. So today I want to talk about what it's like from a buyer's perspective to watch and purchase on Whatnot. Hi, I'm Misty. My closet name is StylingAway. I'm a full-time reseller on many different sites included in the information below. I hope you check out those links. Also, I'm a new YouTuber, so please like and subscribe and comment your experiences about Whatnot as a buyer or as a seller. Okay, let's jump in. Okay, I have a list of a few things that I wrote down of what it's like to be a buyer on Whatnot. Now, the first thing that I think a lot of people enjoy most about Whatnot is that it's fun to bid. It's fun to see what kind of deal you can get, especially on items that you really like or items that you're purchasing as a reseller, because we're trying to get inventory for as low as possible. Now, on Whatnot, there are a lot of different closets that will offer low starts, $1, $3, $5. And depending on the item, when you add in shipping, it may or may not be worth it for you as a reseller. But as a buyer for your own closet, it could definitely be more worth it. Just like when you're at the thrift store, if something is cheap enough for you to buy for your own personal closet, but may not be the price point you want for your online reselling store, you have to make that decision on Whatnot too. So I purchased a variety of things over the last few weeks on Whatnot. I will say that the app is a little bit addictive because you get that thrill that you get when you're at the thrift store. It's like the rush of finding a great deal, and you're trying to get the next the best deal that you can. So there's a little bit of rush there, but it's very fun to bid. Now, the problem with being fun to bid is that you might bid too much. You might buy too much, too many items, and then when you're done at the end of your Whatnot show that you're watching, you might find yourself with more packages than you remember. So be careful when you're bidding, that you're bidding on items that you really do want, that you can either resell or sell on your own, and not just get caught up in the fun part of bidding. Secondly, Whatnot is composed of a lot of resellers. When I was on different shows, and what I do is I pop into different shows. I don't stay on one. I look for what I want and mark it as something to see later, and then I come back to it. But there are a lot of resellers I've noticed on the app, and so it's not like I'm seeing a lot of non-resellers bidding, which I think is a opportunity, of course, for Whatnot to get more people involved, but it's going to maybe take some time. So right now we're seeing a lot of resellers. Number 3, you can get a good deal. You can get a great deal on some items, especially from the smaller sellers, the newer sellers who are starting items a little bit lower and don't have the following either from social media or are well known, and so people are not flocking to their sell. They may have 5 to 10 people in their cell. So if you're looking for a great deal, I suggest looking at some of the smaller shows, the newer sellers, those that are starting at odd hours, to see what they have. I'm sure they would appreciate you stopping in too. I find that Whatnot is more like a store than, say, Poshmark or eBay or Mercari or Depop or Kidizen, because that's a static item and it's going to be there for a while or until it sells, which could be anytime up to years, right? But on Whatnot, you only have a finite amount of time, seconds actually, to decide if you want something. So you're not always going to find what you're looking for. So for instance, if I want a maxi dress that's floral, spaghetti straps, I can type that in online and find a variety of different listings on different platforms that might fit that criteria. When I'm on Whatnot, I'm just kind of able to see what that person has at that moment in time. And I may not ever find a floral strappy dress that fits my criteria. So it's more like a store in that you can go in, you see what it is, and you can walk out with it, but it's not like it's going to be there the whole time. There are very fast auctions on Whatnot, which is great because you want to get through with that auction as soon as possible so you can see others, right? The only issue is sometimes that I find that the sellers don't mention the flaw in the item immediately. So they're talking about the item, bidding has begun, and then they mention a flaw. And so for the individuals who bid, they may have not bid on an item if they knew that the item had a loose hem or had a slight stain or whatever additional information they have. So when sellers mention that information before the bidding begins, it gives the sellers more of an opportunity to explain, and buyers more of the opportunity to decide if they really want that item. I have noticed, on a positive note, there's a lot of positive notes about Whatnot, but one positive note is that items do ship quickly. All the items that I received are shipped very fast from the seller. I think that is because when Whatnot screens people to become sellers, they're looking for people that have a closet, that have inventory, that know how to do this job. So we as sellers are used to shipping quickly to get it out the door, to move on to the next thing. Whereas somebody who does not regularly sell items online may not do that. So that's a great thing about Whatnot, is items are usually shipped within a day or two from the seller to the buyer. I have noticed on Whatnot that it feels a little bit cliquish. Do you see that too? If so, let me know in the comments below. When someone has a show and someone has a large following comes into that show, the person who is selling can't wait to say something to that person. And I think part of it is trying to be friendly, which I think is perfectly okay. Other part is to have conversation, but it does have a cliquish feel right now, and I think that's because it's so full of resellers. As we get more buyers on the platform that are just the general public, perhaps that won't be an issue, but right now I kind of see that happening. Okay. Also on Whatnot, you do not have to stay in that show the whole time. It's okay to leave. And it's okay to leave and go into see what other people are selling. So there might be 3 or 4 shows that you're watching at the same time. Now, one great thing about Whatnot is if you like an item that you know is coming up, you can mark it. And so when it comes up, you can get a notice. Now, I found that I don't get the notice quickly enough to personally be able to bid on it. Like, it'll come up and then 20-30 seconds later it's gone, and so I'm not at the phone, or my internet's having issues, and so I'm not seeing the new item being for sale. But technically you could do that. So you can mark it as something you're interested in, and when it comes up you'll get a notice, but you can go between shows. So if there are 3 or 4 items in different shows that you're looking for, or you're looking to be in a giveaway or whatever it is, you do not have to stay in your show. The only issue I think with that is that whenever you pop into a show, it shows it every time in the feed, which is kind of I don't know if I personally like that as a buyer. Wanted to see myself join. Like, I joined 1 minute ago, I joined 3 minutes ago, I joined 5 minutes ago. I don't want that to feel bad towards the seller, but I think as professional resellers, we know that people are coming in and out. A great thing about Whatnot is buyers can see if the seller preloads a photo and information about the listing beforehand. Now, as a buyer, I prefer to see a photo of the item and any information that can be given before. So sometimes I will look at a show a day before, 2 days before, hours before, and know that if that show is for me or not as a buyer. So I'll see a lot of items that I'm interested in. For instance, if I'm looking for sportswear, I will be looking for items that are my size that I personally want, or items to resell. For me as a buyer, it's important to be able to bundle, to take advantage of the shipping discounts available with bundling. because I want to get as low as cost of goods as possible. So buying one item from one show and paying shipping, and then buying another item from another show and paying shipping, that can be expensive. So if I can bundle items, have a shipping discount, and do it that way, that's the best. But it's only effective if the seller preloads information or photos about the item beforehand. So I shop those shows more as a buyer. Those that do not have information or photos, I typically stay away because I don't have the hour to invest in watching to see what maybe is coming up. I just popped into a show. This is early in the morning. It's about 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. And I noticed that the individual just had like letters and numbers and nothing else about the clothing that's for sale. And for me as a buyer, I'm not going to watch that show. They may have great things and I might be able to get great deals, but there are other shows going on, even at 8 o'clock in the morning, that might be more of interest to me. Now, there are a few problems, I think, with Whatnot. I've mentioned a few, and the one that's really affected me the most is my internet connectivity. When I am watching a show on my phone, the streaming of the live show is often interrupted by my internet. It's not prepared to handle this, plus anybody watching television, plus anybody else on their phones or playing games. And so I will often get kicked out of the show and have to reset the internet. So I'm not sure the best solution for that, but if you are also experience internet connectivity, let me know. Now, as a seller, that concerns me that when I'm trying to have a live, will it go down? I haven't had my first live yet. I'm waiting on that. But as a seller, but I wonder if that would be an issue as both a buyer and a seller. Let me know if you've had that issue or experienced it before. The other issue I think that's I see with Whatnot is the app is a little bit hard to navigate, at least for me. When I'm looking for currently live shows, or if I'm looking for a certain type of item, I'm not exactly able to find those things. So what I'm often doing is following individuals and bookmarking the shows, which I think is a good practice to do. But if I want to watch something right now, and I want to watch a certain category, I feel like it's a little bit difficult to find. Now, you can scroll down. There is something that says live shows and find things, but there's something missing in the search capabilities, I believe, and Whatnot to find what you are actually looking for. Okay, that's what I have. That's what I think. So the question becomes, as a buyer, Whatnot or not to Whatnot? That is the question.